And we live. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It's not going to happen this video, but that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Beth. I'll say what's up to her.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for being here. We do hope that you subscribe or like the video.
Yes, please subscribe to my channel. And while you're subscribing to me, please subscribe to Mrs. Best. Any reviews or recaps I do not provide on my channel, it's because we're on her channel doing them. We have Basketball Wives on her channel we do together, The Valley, and Real Housewives of Miami. So all those shows we do on her channel. And also we have King's Court coming up. We're going to premiere it on her channel. So y'all don't want to miss our recaps or our reviews because we want to make sure that if y'all want our opinions on certain shows, you check out both channels to see who's playing what. That's the best way to know. And while you're subscribing to our channels, please also subscribe to Shana's channel. Shana was one of the very first YouTubers to really embrace me. So I want to make sure we're paying homage because we want her to get remonetized on YouTube so she'll stay on YouTube with us. She has her current channel and also her backup channel. Please subscribe to both. Show her love and tell her that James sent you. So, Next Gen NYC Season 1, Episode 4. This is called Apology Not Included. I feel like whoever came up with the titles of the episodes did it wrong, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. So we start off the episode with Charlie. He's up in his apartment, rolling up, and I'm just like, y'all really didn't got comfortable with showing that, you know. Lord Jesus. But he's telling the people, make sure y'all don't show this because I don't want people to, see my apartment dirty. Meanwhile, they showing pictures of dishes and everything. And I said, your apartment nasty anyway. And I know what y'all gonna say, James, you skipping the whole scene. What about Seth and Meredith and Brooks? I don't care. If y'all don't know anything about me, know this. Brooks and scenes along with his friends, I will talk about. But any scenes with Meredith, Seth, crazy ass, and Brooks, I'm not gonna cover because they annoyed me this episode. I don't know what they were. They just want to be on camera just to be on camera. And I don't have time for that because episode 3, they pissed me off. So I'm skipping their scene, yes, and going straight to Charlie. But Charlie's also explaining circumstances with, his parents and everything. What we understand about, Charlie and his parents is that they equally both have found, crazy people. We met the mom's boyfriend, and just in the scene ahead, we're gonna meet the dad's girlfriend. I think her name was Talia, something like that. And so basically, we're learning a little bit more about Charlie and his dynamic with his father. Charlie and his father seem to have like this. I think his father has like this secret competition with his son, and it's weird. Like, I was looking at that scene where they were at the restaurant, and I was like, why are you like this, sir? Like, did you not want kids or something? Like, why are you like this? So, Charlie's explaining to his dad, the groups and everything and what he has going on. And his father is over there yelling at the waiter saying, I don't want no garlic. I don't want no oil. I don't want the food to be just being mean to the waiter. So the waiter brings their food. He goes, it looks dry. I told you I want olive oil. And I'm looking at them like, this is why I can't work as a waiter. This is why I can't work as a waiter. People like Anwar. Because when I tell you, oh, yes. Mrs. Best said, Bravo, Aaron, Charlie, and his Michael and his daddy will not make us forgive his Mrs. Best, come on, speak your mind, please.
Everybody has a sad fucking story. Guess what? You could be a kid like me, and I'm not seeking sympathy or any of that from anybody, and I've done therapy, dealt with every form of abuse one could deal with from age 5 to 18. Didn't grow up rich. So you could be neglected by your parents, harmed by your parents, abused by your parents, and poor. Your parents neglected you because you was rich as hell. Now your mama, I think you should have a problem with your mom. But his dad, it does seem like this is his dad's love language. Like, this is his way of showing affection by constantly staying on him to ensure that he's doing stuff. I want to know how this boy decided that the quietest person on this show was aggressive. That's what we want to know, Charlie. I see what Bravo is doing, because Bravo has a history of protecting and giving second chances to cast members that do the most egregious of things, such as get caught up in racial stuff, like Jax Taylor, Krista Doty. They got a second chance, or people who allege that people have essayed them, or what in a sex dungeon on RHOA with Phaedra. So I see what Bravo's doing to ease public opinion. They want to show us his sad story, and it's not that sad. This child grew up rich, is rebelling when he has the access, the means, the income, and the time to seek probably the best psychiatric treatment that he could get in therapy, and he's choosing not to. Instead, he chooses to be an asshole and is trying to make everybody around him miserable or view him as some sort of a bad boy. I'm so tired of Charlie James, so I probably won't have.
I am as well, because it's not conducive to what you're trying to prove about your point that you were neglected as a child. We totally get it. Like, your mama wasn't there and your daddy was there, but he wasn't.
And why should we care? If you just said sorry to Riley to appease her, what if we just say what we can to appease Charlie so that we can move on from having to see him? Turn the same shit on him. I can't stand this kid.
Yeah. But Anwar makes it, awkward at the table as well. He was all like, "Do you have anybody in your life?" And Charlie goes, "No." He goes, "Good. You need to get you somebody like Twyla. Like, when you gonna have her in your life?" And I'm looking at him like, "Oh God, here we go. You one of them parents. Like, who the fuck cares?" Like, but to me, all Charlie is doing is looking at the older version of him. That's all he's doing. So, it is what it is. But we then move on to a scene with Ava. She calls her dad Damon Dash and, was telling him about what Charlie did. And Damon was like, "Well, does he like women?" And Ava was like, "Yeah, like, I just think it was a situation to where it just went left." And I'm like, I'm glad Damon asked that question. And let me tell y'all, because I say this on my channel all the time. I always say that men who disrespect women or think less of women or try to put women in these like circumstances like that, I really feel like it's because they don't like them. Do they want to be with them? Maybe. I don't know. But I feel like Mrs. Best does a show called Never Ever Met that she and I both recapped, and we did a full season. There was a gentleman on there. I said, I don't think he likes women based on how he treats them. It's a true saying that saying that you cannot like women, and it's okay. Society is not putting a pressure on you not to be with one or not to have one. But don't be in relationships with women, or don't have friends that are women and disrespect them because you secretly don't like them. You need to identify that so you don't mistreat them, because nobody deserves to be like that. So I actually respected Dame, because, the old school Dame probably would have rolled up on him for disrespecting Black women. But this one's trying to have mutual understanding that he could just be like this because he may not like women, or maybe think that women are beneath him. And coming from a father like Anwar, I can kind of see how that can go hand in hand, personally. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Ava's conversation with Dame?
I think it shows growth with Damon Dash. I agree with his advice. I agreed with his statements. I also appreciated how he asked the question to try to learn about the dude instead of immediately just going after him because of what his daughter told him. So it was fair. There's not much else that he should do. This is the stage of parenting where your kids is grown, they have their own careers, they're going to come to you, confide in you, and talk to you about stuff. But, ultimately, you say your piece once and then you allow them to make their decisions. So it looks like that's what Damon is going to do, and that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So the next thing we have is Georgia. We meet Georgia's boyfriend, Omar. He's this guy who owns a cryptocurrency firm, and he does a lot of investments, and Georgia wants to go into business with him. And I tell you all the time about these situations. We just had the situation with Ariana and Hudson. Now here we go with Georgia and her boyfriend. I feel like, to me, I'm not going into business with you if I'm dating you unless I'm married to you. And even then we'll have stipulations. But for me, I just don't think it's a good idea at all, especially because he looked like the type that's shady. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna say allegedly to protect my channel, but he just looked shady to me. Like, I used to date somebody who had a firm for stock exchange investments. And he said the reason why he built that firm in the first place is to charge people who run day trading desk rent, like they do in real estate. That's a scam too. Desk rent. Like, it's great to partner up with real estate companies because it definitely gets your name out there. It gets, you notice, that sometimes they even send you for classes, they definitely give you leg ups, but it does come with a price, and that is desperate. I feel like that's what he's doing. Because one of someone I dated did the same thing, and I was like, well, damn, like, how you charging somebody some shit that they can do at home? He goes, well, they want an office, right? Yeah, I charge them desk rent. Crazy, right? So that's what I feel like this man is doing. It's smart. It is. If people don't catch on to it, it's smart because, they are doing the job. He is providing the resources, I'm sure. So, yeah, absolutely. But, Georgia has this idea that she wants to invest into, her business, and he wants to come into it as well. Georgia and them don't have different insights, though, on what she should be doing. She goes, he's very, like, to the T. Like, I wake up, he wakes up at 4 a.m. I'm just getting in at 2. So we're just very different. And I'm looking at Georgia like, something tells me there's more into this, that he must have like the background and the money that you need in order to make this, go hand in hand. Because to me, as I said, if my relationship ain't serious, I would not do this. Mrs. Best, do you think it's a good idea for her to go into business with a boyfriend that she has not been with that
long? I'm on the fence with it, honestly, because I don't know. I'm on the fence with it just because if it's someone that you haven't been with that long, then the breakup shouldn't be over anything so deep. And at their age, they should be able to move past it. Realistically, it's a little bit messy, but I don't see anything wrong with it if she does all the paperwork she needs to make sure that she's protected and whatever business or whatever property that's important to her is also protected. Because it seems like they both know it's not going to work out. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't mind it.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. So, basically, from what we understand now is Charlie has invited a few friends over to his dad's house in, I forgot, in upstate New York. It's off of a lake. It's very pretty. But from what we understand is that he invited Dylan, Brooks, and I believe Georgia. And he also invited Ava, but Ava has been ditching his calls. So he's calling Ava, trying to see if she's coming to hold the car. And then he calls his dad and say, hey, Dad, we're running a little late. I'm just leaving the house. And the dad's like, you're going to be late. You're already an hour and a half away. And I was like, damn. I said, well, waiting on Ava's ass. That's what's going to happen. But I don't care because it's Charlie. So who cares? Riley and Ariana meet up. And, they are definitely building their bond. They kind of found their way back to each other. These were childhood friends before their parents fell out. So now that they're, back in there, Riley is saying, how she felt about Charlie and this whole situation of him pointing the finger at her. And, she thought that they were friends. She thought that they were, cool and everything. And the fact that he would do that, it was, she hated it. Like, she hated that that's where they stand. And Ariana's like, look, I got your back regardless. If I got to punch his ass, I will. Like, I got you. And I'm actually happy to see that because it's a reminiscence of Kim and Candy before shit went left. Mrs. Best, how do you feel looking at Riley and Ariana's friendship?
I like it. I think it's solid. I think Kim, the worst people can raise the best people. And I think that's the case with Kim and her kids because they all seem to be decent. Brielle's a little questionable, but as for Ariana, she seems to be okay. So I like seeing them give each other a fair shot and not let the beef with their mamas interrupt anything. And I respect Kim and Candy for also encouraging it and not letting their beef impact it. Because Candy knows she won. Kim broke as hell. She's tardy for a lot of parties now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So we go back to the scene with Charlie, Georgia, Brooks, and Dylan. Georgia's given us some of her background, as a kid. So she grew up poor to middle class. And in the time that she was growing up, her parents decided to become lawyers and open up their own referral firm for lawyers. And so at the time that they were building and developing their careers, 9/11 happened. And when 9/11 happened, it really did something to her father. And it basically had caused him to kind of go into some kind of distress where he ended up leaving his family, moving to upstate New York, and ended up dying. So Georgia has been in therapy since her father had died, and she just recently stopped going within a few months of them filming the show. And she was saying that how therapy has helped her. And then we learned that Charlie has been to therapy as well because him and his dad had a disagreement and it was very heavy to a point where they needed a mediator. So they went to therapy for that as well. And I said, that is very telling. Very telling. Like, I don't know, once again, it doesn't move me with Charlie because I feel like even with his father being like that, Charlie, in some way, I think still would have been an asshole regardless. So, it was nice to hear about George's little, backstory on that. I felt like, it kind of made me look at her just a slight different, just slightly. How did you feel about Georgia opening up about her life and, her family and everything?
Good for her success. I'm glad she went to therapy. Um, Honestly, I thought it made her somewhat relatable, but at the same time, Georgia's here because she represents New York. She's throwing parties, she's an it girl. That's why she's here. It's nice to see that behind all of the goofiness, because she hasn't gone into any depth, that there is some type of richness to her. Uh, so yeah, I didn't mind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So we then move on from there. Ariana and Hudson have finally found them apartment, and they did have to go over budget. Their budget originally was $6,000 a month. Now their budget for this apartment, which was very nice, it was a very beautiful New York apartment. It is $10,000 a month. Plus, they had to pay $18,000 broker fee, which is why I want to become a broker. I do. I want to become a broker so bad. If I can pass up real estate agent and go to broker, I will. Like, I think I'll do real estate for 2 years and then immediately become a broker because I want my own firm. Because that is crazy. That is a crazy fee to be charged for one little place. But anyways, y'all. So they're moving in. Kim Zolciak calls and was so happy for them. Had to point out that they were drinking her wine. Does Kim Zolciak have a wine line, or does she just buy this famous bottle of wine all the time? I don't know. I don't keep up with her. Mrs. Best, do you know if Kim Zolciak has a wine out there?
I don't
Or is it
remember
like,
her having one. If she did, she probably wouldn't be so broke. And I'm not even trying to throw shade because that would be some type of an income coming in, and she probably could have worked something out with her house and some more stuff. Um, but you never know. It could be like a Toya Bush wine, where it's not her
mm,
wine, but it's a coupon code. You feel me?
right, right, right. Makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. So we then move on. They finally make it to um, Charlie's dad's estate in upstate New York. Beautiful property, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. He introduces his friends to his father and everything, and they kind of go off and everything. And what cracked me up is Anwar said, "Who looks better, me or Charlie?" And I'm like, once again, why are you in competition with your son? It is weird. Like, I get it's Charlie, and I get we're not supposed to care to one degree, but I just feel like for me, I'm watching this and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this happening? It, Anwar's, I don't know. Maybe he sees himself in Charlie and he wants Charlie to be better, but not better than him. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. But we
I
then move to
think it's
see.
also the money. I think people get to a certain level of wealth, and not everybody is strong enough to not let it change them. You could tell the money's made him a little snooty and snobby, and it's probably even impacting him with his son. And that's probably why Charlie is so annoyed by his dad and unhappy. But then it's interesting because Charlie, the way his dad is with him, that's how he is with his peers.
Right. Exactly. It's so weird. It's like it's repeating the cycle, but you don't understand what it is. And so you don't realize you're doing it. It's kind of like what Iyanla said. Like sometimes we either live beyond a situation or we give it a name and bring it with us. And oftentimes it's because when we don't know what we're running from, we end up running right into it. We end up being the thing that we are running away from is because we don't have a clear understanding of what it is. So I definitely think that that's what what's going on with Charlie, is that he doesn't know what his type is with being like his father, and he doesn't want to be like that. But what he doesn't realize is that he belittles and beneaths everyone around him in this circle. He's done it to Ariana, and now more recently Riley. It's going to come to a point where he's probably going to do it with Brooks pretty soon here because he keeps antagonizing him with the sister ordeal. I don't see him doing it with Hudson so much, and I don't see him doing it with the other two guys, Dylan and Shy. But I definitely could see him pulling that with Brooks for sure. I think Brooks is his next target. But Charlie's father and him kind of go off to the side and they have a conversation where he's asking him, okay, what are you planning to do with your life? Like, and Charlie doesn't want to have the conversation. And I'm just like, well, if you have something going on, why isn't it okay to share with your dad? Like, just tell him what you got going on. He probably just wants to know just to make sure you have a plan. Charlie ain't got no plan. He just sitting up there in that apartment with his allowance, rolling up joints and stuff. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. And I'm not trying to belittle people who smoke weed. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying have an action plan. Why are you smoking up the weed? Don't just do that all day and just not have nothing to show
Listen,
for it.
I am an avid pothead. I'm always smoking. I'm high right now. Hey, but you have to have balance. I don't smoke all day, every day. You don't smoke when you're at work. You got to be doing more with your life in your free time other than smoking. Go outside, do an activity, read a fucking book, something. So I think that just because you smoke weed is not an excuse to be lazy like Charlie. It's just not. There's a lot of people that smoke weed that are active and get things done. I'm a full-time graduate student in addition to working full-time, in addition to having a husband, in addition to doing YouTube, music reactions, and other things. So marijuana is not an excuse. I think Charlie, in some ways, is also cognizant of if I act this way and do this, then my dad will take care of me. He needs a lot of therapy. I don't really care to see him on TV, but he does need a lot of therapy.
Definitely needs a lot of therapy. I'm sorry. It makes sense. Hi, Shani. Thank you for being here, my love. It makes sense in general terms, but for me, I'm kind of looking at the circumstance even worse now because the fact that you're almost 30, you're talking about getting an allowance from your father and stuff like that, as if you can't get no damn job. It's crazy to me. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But none of my business. I didn't grow up as fortunate, so hey. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this scene with Seth and Brooks, Damon Dash, and Ava. They're at a golf event. I didn't know that Damon Dash played golf. I was not aware of that, but go ahead. Seth is, fangirling, over there acting the fool like he normally does. So Brooks and Ava have a conversation. And they're talking about Charlie, and we know about the situation with Riley, about how Ava has not talked to him since that situation. She's been dodging his phone calls, she's been ignoring him, and everything. And Brooks tells Ava about the car ride, and talk about the therapy sessions, and Ava's like, yeah, he definitely needs therapy and everything. And Brooks is like, even I went to therapy. It's not anything new, and he was telling some story about how he thought there was monsters in the house and shit. It was so weird. But her having the conversation with with Brooks says that she is going to reach out to Charlie and check on him, make sure he's good, and she didn't intend to ignore him. She just wanted him to see where they were coming from because she felt like he didn't. So that scene happened. Then we get another scene where Georgia is trying to give Omar her business plan and all this. I really didn't care for this scene too much because she ends up talking about shit that she had did, prior with this one celebrity from Will and Grace and all that. Mrs. Best, you don't talk about that scene with Georgia and Omar. Is there anything you want to?
No.
Because it was boring. I was like, I don't really care. Good luck to you, Georgia. Hope everything works out.
Good for
So
her.
Ava, yeah, Ava finally meets up with Charlie. They finally, talk about what happened with Riley. He mentions that he met up with Riley. They, talked it out. They're, on the good, and she's happy that he did that. Ava tells him that, she's not upset with him. She's not angry with him, but it was very, apparent that he needed to, check himself as far as, coming with microaggressions, coming with all that. And I'm just looking at Ava like, no, this is not the conversation you needed to have with him. You needed to tell him about himself. I think people are scared to tell Charlie about himself. Not only Ava, but Brooks too. I feel like the people that are close to him on the show, they're really afraid to approach him and say, hey, you do disrespectful shit. And if we're going to be friends, I need you to cut that shit out. Because there's no way you going to be disrespectful to another black woman in my presence, and I'm a black woman as well. Like, did you forget? And to me, it kind of makes me wonder, like, does Ava really see herself as a black woman? Does she, Mrs. Beth, do you think that Ava sees herself as a black woman? Because I feel like she went too easy on Charlie. I do.
I think that she does identify as a black woman, but I think that as a result of how she grew up, the school she went to, the spaces that she was around, she may be more comfortable around the colorless population. Because I see her attempt to connect and she seems to care, but then at the same time, there's situations where you're just like, wait, this doesn't make sense. You shouldn't behave that way. So I don't know what's going on with Ava. As I stated, the moment that it came back to her that he didn't mean that apology, that's when she should have a problem with him. So
yeah. Because what are you saying? You don't mean the apology. Like, what are you saying? Like, why would you not mean something when you clearly offended somebody, with your tone anyway? So, that was crazy. That was a crazy ass scene for me. I was kind of like, there was a scene with Ariana, she's into fashion or whatever. Do you want to go over that? Because I'm going to skip to the last scene.
no.
Okay. Ariana's into fashion. It's funny that, because the next scene, they're at an event or whatever. It's all of them with the exception. I didn't see Shy there. Was Shy there? I don't remember seeing him. But they're all at the event for, we see Amira. She's coming out with everyone. Chloe, which is Brooks' sister, she's there as well and everything. So Ava hears that Ariana is there because she actually wants to become a fashion entrepreneur. So Ava was like, oh, that's interesting because when I look at her, I don't see fashion at all. And I said, well, damn. Okay, Ava, let me not see you with the microaggressions as well. But she says this in front of like Brooks and everything. And so Amira, she tells Amira the situation. Amira's like, well, maybe you shouldn't judge her. You don't know her. You don't know anything about her, and I don't think you should be coming off like this. And so Brooks goes over to Riley and Ariana and pretty much tells her, I hate I have to be this person, but she was just saying that she doesn't see you as fashion and everything. And Ariana is pissed. Ariana's like, what? Like, what is she talking about? Like, she doesn't even know me. Like, what's going on? And she goes, oh no, I want to see Ava. I want to see Ava with the bitch ass attitude. I want to see her. And it was like, oh, okay, Ariana. I mean, damn. I wouldn't have been offended. I'd have been like, okay, and she's the model. She'll probably wear my designs walking down the runway. I would have just came out with a clever comment. But she goes up to Ariana. They actually sit right next. Goes up to Ava. They sit right next to her. And Ava was like, "You okay? You good?" And she goes, "Yeah, you were saying that I don't have any fashions, and you said I'm not fashionable or anything." And Ava said, "I said that, yeah. So that's how I feel." And we're left on the cliffhanger. So we don't know what happens next. But one thing I'm gonna give Ava, Ava ain't no punk. I thought Ava was going to back down and say, "Well, I didn't mean it like that." Ava stood on business. Ava said, "Yeah, I said it." And it kind of reminded me of Mary Cosby when we first met Mary Cosby, and she said Jen Shaw smelled like hospital, and Jen confronted her about it, and the friend who heard it, and she said, the friend said, "Yeah, you did say that." Mary said, "Yeah, I said it, and you smelled like it too." That's what that thing reminded me of. So I'm glad Ava ain't no punk because I really thought I saw this going in a different direction. But Mrs. Best, how do you feel about these two having an exchange in words?
I feel like Ariana did a little bit too much. Again, Ava is the person who wears the clothes. She's not the designers and stuff that she needs to connect with. So it was a little much. Like, okay, I get it that you care, but come on, realistically, that's every young kid's dream is to start a fashion line. Stick to merch, go to school, something, girl. That
Right.
it was stupid to me.
It was stupid. I agree with that. It was like you shouldn't have got that upset over someone. I get we're on a reality TV show. People want to see the dramatics, but I felt like her saying that she doesn't have, like she didn't think that she was that fashion forward, did not come across as some slight to Ariana. Because I mean, Ariana does she dresses cute. It's not bad, but I wouldn't have gotten fashion from her either. To me, I thought maybe she would have did something different. But who am I? I'm wearing a t-shirt and some sweats, so who am I? But I just felt like for me, I wouldn't have turned up like that. I kind of been like, okay, and she's the model. Like she probably will wear my designs walking down the runway. We'll see who's fashion forward. But I like that Amira held Ava accountable and said, "Don't judge her too quickly." And I love that Ava was no punk and she said exactly what she meant. I loved it. I did. I thought it was a great episode. So I can't wait to see what these two turn into. And officially, y'all, I am caught up with Next Gen NYC. I told y'all I was going to do it. I finally did it. If I kept something out, it's because it really wasn't the entertainment. Like Georgia and her boyfriend going into business together. Fine. I don't really care for Georgia too much on this show unless she just says something interesting. Y'all know how I feel about Seth Meredith and Brooks. I don't care about Seth and Meredith being on the show. I don't want them in every episode, but they seem like they are going to be in every episode, and it's going to piss me off. Anything else I'm missing? I'm looking. Anything that I'm missing, Mrs. Best, on this?
No, I think you covered it.
All right, you guys. Well, my next live will be tomorrow for Real Housewives of Atlanta. It is the season finale. So we will be covering that on my channel, and we'll be on Mrs. Best channel this week. Kim daughter is on Watch What Happens Live tonight. Oh, okay, very nice. So maybe I'll go watch it. Maybe I will. I don't like Andy, so we'll see. But yeah, but that's it. We'll be on Real Housewives of Atlanta tomorrow. We'll be on Basketball Wives on Tuesday. We have The Valley and also Real Housewives of Miami Wednesday and Thursday. And we'll be back on my channel. Ooh, because I'm losing. I guess I can do Next Gen on Thursday with you doing Real Housewives of Miami. Oh, Phaedra with her? Okay, Phaedra. Nelly new shows tonight also. Oh. I don't that's not the type of show I would cover, but I definitely will watch it for sure. But I will see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye bye.